Walt Disney World Resort is currently under a lawsuit, but not one that has anything to do with Reedy Creek or local governments or anything like that. No, this is the case of a water slide that went wrong. And it's not infrequent that Walt Disney World Resort is sued, of course, but it's also not every day that we get to cover a video where we're talking about one giant, super atomic wedgie. All right, folks, welcome back to another video of excellence here on the WDW Pro channel. It is a joy that you have joined us, and yes, we are talking wedgies right here on the channel. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We are not here to make fun of anyone who suffered from said wedgie, just in the same way we would never make fun of someone who sat on a whoopee cushion of doom. But we will be covering it because just like that whoopee cushion, you can't pass up on something like that. You can't pass up on it. And you can't pass up on having Culture Casino join us once more. Culture, welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me, Pro. And you know what? This is a very serious subject. I mean, I'm glad that we're diving into it. I really am.
We will dive into this wedgie full force. Folks, here we go. All right, here is the very serious article. And no, folks, we are not making fun of anyone who suffers an injury. And we know that there are times when you've hit your funny bone and it was not funny at all. And this is on a greater scale than that. But we will read between the lines here and explain a few things that you may not get out of the regular articles. This is by Marnie Hunter. Disney sued over severe injuries allegedly caused by wedgie from water slide. You know the people who write these titles, they love it. Walt Disney World Parks and Resorts is facing a lawsuit related to an injurious wedgie. Good Lord, an injurious wedgie that court documents allege resulted from riding a 214-foot water slide in the resort's Typhoon Lagoon water park in Lake Buena Vista, Florida. The suit pertains to an incident that took place on October 14, 2019 on the Humunga Kowabunga water slide during a 2-week visit to Walt Disney World by plaintiffs Emma and Edward McGinnis and their family. The family visited the resort in part to celebrate her 30th birthday. A few things we need to know here, folks. First of all, Humunga Kowabunga opened with Typhoon Lagoon, the water park. I believe that the park opened in 1989. So this has been around for a very long time. To my knowledge, there have been no other serious lawsuits from this water slide. It operates daily with lots and lots of people coming down the water slide. Although we also recognize there can be, a number of freak accidents that can occur. Hang tight, because we're going to dive in, not to the wedgie, but into reading between the lines of what actually happened here. The slide, which Disney bills on its website as a near-vertical 5-story drop in the dark, descends 214 feet and plunges riders into a pool of water to end the ride. The suit, which was filed last week in the Circuit Court for Orange County, Florida, alleges that Disney knew or should have known of the risk of painful wedgies, particularly for women. All right, we'll do this one last quote, and then, Culture, I'm going to get your take before we dive into what probably happened here. And yes, folks, we will say the word dive a ridiculous amount of times. If you're starting to wonder, are Pro and Culture using this in a humorous way, or did they just say this nonstop? Jury's out. Specifically, when a rider of the slide reached the bottom of the ride and traveled into the pool of water, decided to stop further travel, the force of the water can push loose garments into a person's anatomy, an event known as a wedgie. I'm glad that we've had wedgie defined for us. The suit says, because of a woman's anatomy, the risk of a painful wedgie is more common and more serious than it is for a man. Now, Culture, I'm not here to give an anatomy lesson to folks at home, but I'm here to say that if you think that a woman has a more painful experience with a wedgie, you do not understand how wedgies work. There's a situation here of internal versus external. Now, I get that water can go places on a woman that it cannot go on a man, but when it comes to wedgies, there are things, bits and pieces that can be jostled and squeezed. We need to say no more, I would say. But Culture, you say something about it and have fun with it.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is true. There are differences anatomically, different equipment, but no, and again, I mean, there is a perineum there, for everybody. But look, I wanted to delve into the recesses of this on my channel, but I couldn't figure out.
Please dive into the recesses, yeah. please, Culture.
I couldn't feel like. Look, this is obviously a money grab as far as I'm concerned, but It is. Like I said, wedgies can be awfully painful. They can occur in many ways. You can get a belt loop actually stuck on a doorknob or something like that. But it is. I don't know. I imagine it was somewhat embarrassing. To exit.
Probably so. Probably
Pool.
so.
And I would imagine that leaves less to the imagination for bystanders. And I don't know. Why am I here to judge whether or not this person suffered a painful wedgie? I'm not here for that. I'm here to take full advantage of the fact that this is in a juvenile way rather humorous.
It is.
But I personally have done that slide more than a few times, and I will tell you, I never suffered a wedgie.
That's right. Well, we're going to find out exactly how this wedgie occurred. So, folks, again, the attraction has been running since 1989. And I think that we are going to reveal to you how some of these lawsuits happen. Now, we're not here to judge whether or not the wedgie happened. We're not here to judge the severity of the injuries. We are not here to mock or belittle anyone who has suffered a serious accident at a public place or a private institution and then needed to file suit about it. But you might say to yourself, how is it that so many people went down Humunga Kowabunga and did not suffer this atomic wedgie situation? Well, let's find out by reading between the lines in the legalese here that has been dropped upon us. Here's what it says. The suit alleges that Disney was negligent and breached its duties of reasonable care in failing to provide protective clothing, such as shorts for the slide, failing to warn McGinnis and other women of the risks, and other design and safety failures. Okay, well, that's interesting, but let's continue on because here's where we're going to get into it. The suit says that McGinnis assumed the appropriate position with her ankles crossed, right? So they do tell you because of the speed you're going to go, you must cross your ankles, you must cross your legs, and you must put your arms over your chest. Right, Culture? You've done this slide before.
Oh, yeah. You're trying to make yourself a point. First of all, you get better results that way as far as speed and such. In fact, I often use my heels to elevate myself off of the slide.
Right, and Culture, it's fair to say too that were you as a man to go down the slide with your legs not crossed, that it would be like a kick in the groin repeatedly over and over as you hit the water at high velocity, right?
All 219 foot of a kick in the groin. Yeah, it's not a good time.
So that would be unpleasant, folks. We're here to tell you that would also be unpleasant. Women, you can imagine the type of unique injury that occurs to women and not to men, just as men have a unique situation there. But here's what we say. Here's what it says. But she became airborne.
Oh.
Hey, she became airborne toward the end of the slide and slammed into the slide, which increased the likelihood of her legs becoming uncrossed or otherwise exposing herself to injury. So, Culture, it seems to me that what the suit is alleging here is that as she came down the slide, she uncrossed her legs, and thus the injury happened. So she was not in the position she is told to stay into. And they give the reason that she apparently went airborne and slammed into the slide. Now, I don't know what that means necessarily. I don't know what it means to go airborne on the slide because, people, when they hit the bottom water, they kind of skip on the water a little bit. But again, we're talking about physics here, and physics has been borne out over 3 decades plus. And, this happens routinely every single day, and everybody else keeps their legs crossed. If you uncross your legs and you're a woman, or if you're a man, you're going to suffer the specific stuff that happens to men and women when they uncross their legs and go flying across the water. So I think that's what's happening here. Culture, is this unusual, you think, for Disney to have lawsuits such as this where people maybe, perhaps, perchance, didn't actually do what they were supposed to do and then they sue Disney over it?
Well, as I've often said, most of the time, the vast majority of times that injuries occur at Disney World or any theme park is because of the guest. The guest does not do something that they're asked to do, required to do to appreciate said attraction. In this case, a water slide. And I think that most of the time it's the person's responsibility rather than the parks. Disney gets sued all the time. and most of those cases go away. Many of them are considered nuisance suits. Sometimes there is a little bit of culpability on behalf of the parks, and if there's that, then sometimes they will settle. But most of the time, they just end up dismissed, or if they are processed through, they're usually found in favor of the park. So, like I said, in this particular case, especially with the way that she describes how she became injured. I would say that she probably was not maintaining the proper body position throughout the ride. I would say.
As Egon says, "Don't cross the streams."
Oh boy,
she uncrossed the legs, so that's
Yeah.
what happened here. But I want to go on to add even more to the frivolous nature of this. Although, folks, please know that we are just giving our opinions here. We are
Yes.
not legal experts, and we are not here to mock or belittle those who have filed a suit. May it be well adjudicated, and may the correct response happen in court. But here's the extra part of this. In addition to the count of negligence, okay, regarding Disney should have told you, really, really don't uncross your legs. Not just don't uncross your legs. Really, really don't. A second count, loss of consortium, relates to Emma McGinnis' husband, Edward McGinnis. As a direct and proximate result of Disney's negligence, as described above with the superatomic wedgie, Edward McGinnis has suffered loss of his wife's care, comfort, consortium, support, and services, the complaint reads. So, how's that for you, culture? He has lost care and comfort and support from his wife over the wedgie. Any thoughts on? I mean, I'm trying to be kind here. I'm really trying to be kind.
That's a loss that I would prefer not to suffer. I understand. I mean, everybody wants some consortium now and then. I feel like
Do you think that's a euphemism, culture?
Yes, it's a wonderfully legal legal way of saying things. My goodness, I'm going to start using that regularly now.
That's right, sweetheart. I feel a little low on consortium today.
Yeah.
Perhaps could we? Yeah. As he looks off screen right now.
I'm trying to see somebody get killed, but honestly, that is that's a lovely term. I feel like I understand the care, right? The care and the comfort. I understand. I mean, and maybe she's a wonderfully comfortable pillow. I don't know.
So here's the thing, though, culture.
Yeah.
This happened in 2019.
Oh boy.
Right? And again, folks, we're not trying to be rude here. I can't imagine, and perhaps I'm wrong. I will fully put it out there that perhaps I'm wrong. I cannot imagine that going down a water slide with your legs uncrossed could do more damage than childbirth. And people go back to consortium.
Oh, that's true.
After childbirth, after a period of time. So I'm struggling here. Now, maybe this is a uniquely damaging event, despite the fact that these types of damaging events never happen to anybody else who participates in this exact same water slide on a daily basis in the numbers of thousands per day. But
I can't imagine that people haven't done this before and not suffered this kind of an injury or loss of consortium. But I can't imagine it hasn't, because I've seen people accidentally open their legs or disregard the rules on that slide, and in many of the slides at the parks. To be fair, I mean, Blizzard Beach, I've seen people do that too on that extreme slide. But
and let's say this, culture, when we're talking about Humunga Kowabunga at Typhoon Lagoon, this is nothing compared to the slide at Blizzard Beach.
Yeah.
What's the name of that one? Summit Plummet.
Yeah.
Summit Plummet is drastically taller. It is way taller than Humunga Kowabunga. We're talking about, I mean, this is not a baby slide, but this is absolutely nothing compared to many of the slides out there that are all about, dropping you intense heights.
I think the one that I was most impressed with was at the Wet and Wild. I think it was even more extreme than any of those, in the same kind of position that you have to be in, and so on and so forth, because you can suffer some injury there, even more so. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, again, not to make light of this person's suffering, because I certainly wouldn't do that. But I will laugh at the circumstances. Like I said, I believe that in this case, the guest probably bears the brunt of responsibility of this. So.
The reason that we brought this to you folks, beyond the fact that the opportunity to cover wedgies on this channel is exceedingly rare. I know you all think we get wedgie topics every day, but we don't. The other reason for this, though, is that we wanted to bring to light to you how these lawsuits sort of work. And I thought that this was the best opportunity to show the kind of lawsuits that theme parks experience on a rather regular basis. And the other thing about this, too, is it's an opportunity for us to take the side of Disney, which is very unusual as of late. But in this case, although we are not there and we're not, but we are tacitly open to saying that Disney probably didn't do anything wrong here. Both Culture and myself, we've gone down this slide. We have seen many people of all body types, shapes, sizes, and anatomies go down the slide. And we're just here to tell you, on this one, we kind of feel for the mouse. Yeah. Culture, final thoughts on the atomic wedgie slide of doom.
Well, I feel like we have a new word of the day that we can add to our vocabularies and consortium. I'm going to enjoy that one, and
I bet you will.
And I don't know. Maybe I think this was a function of the 2-week opportunity to visit the parks, because that's an extended stay. So, perhaps they were doing this slide regularly, and it's the culmination. Perhaps
Culture. 2 weeks is a lot of walking at the parks. So there could have already been some chafing involved before the wedgie incident. I mean, if this was towards the end, you can see how serious inner thigh chafing could have led to even more water abrasion.
Yeah, but I do feel for the woman who suffered the injury, because it doesn't sound pleasant, and it sounds like it was a medical inconvenience. It sounds like it was an inconvenience for both of them, and they probably both missed out on a lot of consortium on vacation.
Yes, and let's wrap it up by saying this, folks. If, in fact, the lady of her own will and volition uncrossed her legs, then no good. If, however, she did have some sort of freak physics incident where she lifted off the slide and slammed into the slide and her legs became uncrossed and she suffered severe injury, and now her name is out there on all of the articles, and the husband truly has lost the support and care of his wife, and it's just a horrible thing, then our hearts go out to them, and we would never want to be a part of mockery. But we did want to just show you how these things work. And the other interesting thing is that we read specifically from the CNN article because it gives details that many of the other articles don't. As you all probably can guess, some of those other articles leave out the significant pieces that explain to us sort of what probably happened. All right, folks, there's something that we would probably like to have happen, and that is, if you like content like this, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Tell us, do you think that this atomic super wedgie was the fault of Disney or the woman based on what we know? And please, folks, no puns. We don't allow puns here. Don't dive deep into the recesses of the darkness of puns on the web. Culture, where can we find you if we dive deep into your stuff?
Actually, it's rather easy. I am Culture Casino everywhere, which includes YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, Minds, Getter, and the platform X, formerly known as Twitter.
There you go, folks. Find Culture Casino, or find Culture Casino, not Casino. What is this? A feminine verb of the... Anyway, Culture Casino, he's out there. He's doing great stuff, and you do not want to miss out on it. All right, folks, we say Humunga Kowabungas to all of you out there. And wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun. Kowabunga!
This is Wilton the Troll reporting for That's Park Place, and I'm surrounded by loving and adoring people who are peacefully trying to make sure that poor kids aren't cold in the winter. And just behind me, you can see a totally natural bonfire for baking cookies or making marshmallows.
Yeah, so, Wilson, we really appreciate the effort and stuff, but we're looking for real and, accurate news reporting on that Park Place.
So not like most news outlets, huh?
No.